The year 1970. The subject, the fate of James Bond. Producers Albert R. Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman must decide on a new direction for 007.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me.
When actor George Lazenby departs from the role as Bond, the filmmakers are faced with a clean slate.
The fact is that nobody wanted to take a chance that we were hurting the franchise, and the mutual decision on everybody's part was to make a change.
The question is, what type of change? Popular opinion suggests the next film needs to return to the tone and structure of Goldfinger, the first Bond movie to achieve blockbuster status. The filmmakers enlist veteran Bond writer Richard Maybaum to write the new script, and Goldfinger's director Guy Hamilton to direct.
I was asked to do Diamonds, and it was a real kick because I'd felt that I'd been away from it long enough to have varying viewpoints, and I think I'd like to push it a little bit more this way and that.
Like Fleming's novel, much of the action takes place in and around Las Vegas, but the script features a new villain, Goldfinger's twin brother. It is decided Maybaum's script needs a major overhaul. It is a time of social upheaval. Many suggest Bond's British clubland values are passé.
I'd say it was a 30-year-old fiend indifferently blended, sir, with an overdose of Bombois.
They believe 007 should become more American.
Adam West was on a publicity tour in London, and he did come to the house, and of course he was under contract playing Batman. I guess you might say that they had the conversation. He was considered.
The Americanization of Bond continues.
We went to the States, Guy and Cubby and I and Harry to test for new Bonds.
Cubby found this very good American actor by the name of John Gavin, and he was actually signed to play Bond.
John Gavin is best known for his role in Hitchcock's Psycho.
So it was decided to do the whole film in Hollywood.
We actually took stage space at Universal Studios, set up shop there.
Having dropped the idea of Goldfinger's twin brother as the villain, the filmmakers now search for a new angle. The solution comes to co-producer Cubby Broccoli in a dream.
One morning, he woke and he said, "I've had the most fabulous dream. It was about Howard Hughes." He said, "I thought I was outside the penthouse window, and he had his back to me. And I was knocking on the window, and I was saying, 'Sam.' That was the nickname that his close friends called him. 'Sam.' And when he turned around, it wasn't Howard Hughes at all. It was a total stranger." He said, "And that's what I've been looking for, this fellow who's kept captive in this penthouse, and everything below is still going on as though he exists."
A new writer is brought in to develop the idea.
I got a call from my agent saying, "How would you like to write a James Bond movie?" I thought he was joking. I mean, this monstrous joke. Cubby Broccoli was saying, "I need a writer to rewrite this script. I want him to be young. I'd like him to be American, but he has to have a command of the British idiom." He's a perfect writer for this because he writes larger than life and he writes with attitude. Well, I was like a kid in a candy store. I couldn't believe that I was there as the writer of a Bond movie.
And he and I got on like a house on fire immediately.
Before Mankiewicz finishes his draft, another big event happens. On February the 9th, 1971, Los Angeles is rocked by the magnitude 6.5 San Fernando earthquake.
Suddenly the whole building leaned 8 feet at that height, you see.
And that thing went like that, a bum, bada bum, bada bum, bada bum, frightened the hell out of them. So they came running up to my house. I lived on Beaumont Drive in Beverly Hills, and they had to stay there because they were so shooken up.
Another shake-up follows when United Artists suggests a change of course.
United Artists were gung-ho to get Sean back, but Harry and Cubby felt they really didn't want to beg a reluctant actor to act.
I had a brilliant sketch artist who was working for me, Tom Wright. And if you look at his storyboards, I mean, it's always Sean in them.
And so there was a big conference in Cubby's house in Bev Hills, and David Picker, who was president of the United Artists at that time, flew in from New York.
He said, Sean, is going to cost you $2 million. That money you can recoup from Edie money.
There was a levy here called the Edie levy.
For every penny taken at the box office, something like a quarter of it, a farthing, was returned directly to the producers.
And so Sean isn't going to cost you anything. And so then it was decided to use Sean.
Procter and Saltzman asked me to come from Paris to London to talk to Sean, to give him the offer.
I had to take a week to make the decision myself, whether I would do it again.
And lo and behold, Sean said yes, he would come back.
Of course, the producers already have an actor signed to play James Bond.
If Sean had not come back, John Gavin was going to play him.
And they called and said, look, we've got Sean.
Gavin graciously departs from the picture, with Cubby Broccoli insisting that his contract be paid in full. He continues acting and from 1981 to 1986 serves as U.S. ambassador to Mexico. Sean Connery, meanwhile, negotiates a record sum for his return.
They had given him, I guess, a deal he couldn't refuse.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
He got the unheard of sum of, I think, $1,200,000 for the film, which in 1970 was just extraordinary.
Sean gave all that money away, and it was $1.25 million.
He contributed his fee to Scottish Educational Trust Fund.
I started 3 years ago a trust in Scotland, Scottish International Education Trust.
Young Scottish artists, writers, painters, who could get the money if they stayed in Scotland.
With this, I could launch the trust with so much money that there could never be an excuse for it not succeeding.
United Artists offers additional inducements beyond the record-breaking salary.
He also got the right to make 2 films.
We made a 2-picture deal with Sean.
With also development money to prepare them during this period, which I'm doing now.
Ultimately, only 1 film is made under the arrangement, The Offense.
Details are not important. What's important is he did 1 more movie.
And once back, I must say, he was the real pro. Everything went wonderfully well.
With Connery back in the picture, the production shifts gears. It is no longer going to be an American Bond. Connery, meanwhile, turns his attention to the script.
I never met Sean until we were in Las Vegas about 2 weeks before, and I had the most wonderful meeting with him. He loved the script.
I think is probably the best one they've had, certainly construction-wise, for a beginning, a middle, and an end of a story. It's very good. It's a very good script.
Most of the notes he had were about other characters' dialogue or other characters' bits of business. It was the least self-centered script meeting I'd ever had with an actor, much less a star.
The other roles are soon filled. Jill St. John takes the part of jewel smuggler Tiffany Case.
The script was sent to me by Cubby Broccoli, and I loved it, and who would not want to be in a Bond film?
Charles Gray, who plays Henderson in You Only Live Twice.
Thank you.
I'm glad we got it right.
Takes on the role of Ernst Stavro Blofeld, the 3rd actor to play the part in as many films.
I liked him a lot, and I was trying to trade chess lessons for bridge lessons, and neither one of us ended up learning to do the other's game very well.
Lana Wood joins the cast on a recommendation from the film's writer.
Tom Mankiewicz, who is a dear friend of mine, said that he was doing this film, and he was speaking with Cubby Broccoli, and he said, I've got the perfect girl to play Plenty O'Toole.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
As a teenager, I used to read all the Ian Fleming books, and I love that. That was sort of my fantasy.
Another pivotal role is filled with an offbeat choice, Jimmy Dean.
I was working at the Desert Inn, and Cubby Broccoli came in and saw me doing my regular act out there and said, that's the guy I want to play Willard White.
Jimmy Dean, the grand old Opry star.
I had the #1 record in England in 1961, a thing I wrote and recorded called Big Bad John.
Jimmy Dean, the sausage king.
Whatever melts your butter suits me.
thank God for the sausage business. Every day in my life is Groundhog Day. Did you know that?
For Jimmy Dean, playing Willard White proves to be a risky venture.
Willard White was really basically Howard Hughes. And I'm working for Howard Hughes at the Desert Inn.
It was definitely Howard Hughes, and it was Howard Hughes who at the time had taken over the Desert Inn in Las Vegas and was living up there, but nobody had seen him.
They sent Howard Hughes the first 16mm print of every James Bond movie. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been cute if Howard Hughes had seen that movie and said, that sapsucker's playing me, and I don't like the way he's doing it.
Tell him he's fired.
That would have cost me a pot full of money.
Another musician joins the cast as one of Blofeld's homicidal henchmen.
Well, I worked with Burt Bacharach. I recorded with Sonny and Cher. I did the Phil Spector records and the Righteous Brothers, Lost That Love and Feeling. I'm on that. And, but that really wasn't my main thing. Our main thing was jazz.
He was a jazz musician, and I think it was his first acting job.
He was a bass fiddle player with Thelonious Monk.
I worked with Thelonious Monk. One night, Guy Hamilton came into Shelley's Manhole in L.A.
And Guy, who was a jazz fan, seen Thelonious Monk. There was Putter playing, and he went, that's one of the guys.
So I did a screen test with Paul Williams, playing the part of Mr. Wint. He wrote a lot of songs like We've Only Just Begun, it's one of his songs, but he wrote a ton of songs.
When Paul Williams is unable to come to terms with the producers, Bruce Glover lands the role of Mr. Wint.
First, they thought I was a little too normal looking because they were looking for Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre. Now, I can do Peter Lorre in my head, but I don't look like Peter Lorre. They wanted weird physical types.
I didn't act like anything. I just acted like myself.
So when I got on the set, I looked at Putter and I thought, so we're gay.
Well, the audience has the inside information, so you don't need to act like you're gay. If they know you are, then that's all that's necessary.
A lot of my character was based on just looking at Putter and enjoying him. Just in looking at him was an enjoyable experience. And I thought, but he's mine. He's mine. He's my toy. And now I've got like this possessive kind of thing.
They're both aboard. I must say, Miss Kay seems quite attractive. For a lady.
That jealousy came up because I had, in fact, the sense of Putter being my toy.
As the start date nears, the crew finds the Las Vegas location not so much a challenge as a temptation.
We were living in Las Vegas for about 6 weeks. The whole art department were living around the pool. And they were all gamblers, and nobody went to bed.
But back then, it was just a hard-nosed gambling town. I mean, that was it.
I think we all lost our money.
They gambled, you know, all the way through the night.
You can go breeze into a casino and not know whether it's night or day. There are no clocks and no windows.
Producer Cubby Broccoli and his wife Dana become involved in a real-life mystery.
His room was broken into while they were asleep and his wife's jewelry stolen, which was really frightening, right in the hotel.
I'd heard about these robberies where they come in and spray chloroform or something and the people sleep and they take the jewelry. Amazing. I was in the suite next door.
Filming begins April the 5th, 1971, with the desert outside Las Vegas substituting for South Africa.
The first day of shooting in Las Vegas, we're going to shoot that scene with the scorpions where Putter pretends to have a toothache. And I said, oh, would you look at his thing? And he starts to look, and he's saying, open, open. And he opens up his mouth, and when his mouth is open, I reach around and I jam the scorpion into his mouth.
They thought that was too shocking.
The following week, Sean Connery shoots his first scene, the car chase down the Vegas Strip.
They said, whatever you want, Guy. And I said, well, I've heard that before. I don't really believe it. Let's try and for size. Could you close downtown Vegas for 5 nights?
Closing down the Strip is no trouble for Cubby Broccoli, who has friends in high places.
Howard used to occupy that whole top floor of the Desert Inn.
They called him the Penthouse. Word has come down from the Penthouse that Cubby Broccoli can use anything in any of his hotels or anything else that he might need.
Filming the car chase continues through mid-April, except for one stunt, which takes months to complete.
Originally, we did that sequence in the studio, and I was actually there in the studio in Los Angeles.
The initial shoot at Universal goes well, but Hamilton still needs shots of the car exiting the alley in Las Vegas.
Cubby said, cool it, I'll have a second unit and they will get the shot for you.
A second unit films a stunt in June. The footage, unfortunately, includes Las Vegas street crowds, police, and other problems. A reshoot is scheduled.
I said, terrific, Cubby, you can tell them to do it again.
They redid it later.
The American stuntmen, unfortunately, cannot perform the stunt. A French team is called in, but they do the stunt on the opposite set of wheels.
But they did it the wrong way round.
The driving seat is down, the French guy does it the other way down, the driving. I said, I don't, so long as they're on two wheels, it's all the same to me, wheelie up or wheelie down.
That attitude doesn't last when the dailies arrive.
To this day, every time I see it, my heart goes in my mouth. If you look at it, it's down on one side, but no way could it have turned on the other side.
Eventually, an innovative solution is found.
There's only one answer.
When we did the close-ups, we were on a soundstage, but the car still went like this.
And in the middle there, we slipped this shot of the car.
At the end of April, Connery begins filming inside the Riviera Hotel and Casino.
He was just an incredible presence, which he still is. I did the entire scene on an apple box because I was not tall enough. So that was always a lot of fun because Sean was so gigantic, and here I was even with heels, not quite matching up.
May the 1st finds the crew at the John Manville gypsum plant, which becomes White Tektronix in the film.
The moon buggy was not 100% based on the actual lunar vehicle. Guy wanted it to look grotesque with these flailing arms and so on, mechanical arms. And I decided to use the actual moon buggy wheels, which were conical. What happened was that the ground was so rough and the weight of the actual moon buggy was so much that they kept breaking.
The following week, Lana Wood takes a dip in the pool. Though stuntwoman Patty Elder does part of the fall, Lana Wood finishes it off for the close shot.
I started thinking about the fact that I was going to be jumping into a pool, basically nude. And then everybody was running around saying, oh, you don't have to be worried because we're going to be shooting this in the middle of the night. Who will be up then? And I thought, yeah, that's right. I mean, who's going to be up? It's Las Vegas. The whole world is up in the middle of the night, and they're all gathered around the windows looking at the pool area.
Exceptionally fine shot.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
In mid-May, the Bond company arrives at an unusual home in Palm Springs.
The house was built out of the rock itself. And the rock that I start out when you first see me on was actually a real rock there in the house that the house was built around.
And it was absolutely right for the film. It was a reinforced concrete structure, very modern and fabulous. And I said, you know, this is as though I designed it.
I get a lot of ideas from television. I saw some of these girls for the Olympics doing their mat work, you know, where they do these somersaults. It's beautiful to watch. If one of those girls were ever to do some flips and come and kick you in the teeth with her feet, I mean, you wouldn't stand a chance.
I showed him different things that I felt that would be appropriate for fighting, and that kick and that turn on the floor, that is mine. I must say, that's mine. I like that one.
Stuntwoman Donna Garrett is originally signed to play Bambi, but does not end up in the role.
Well, hi there. I'm Bambi.
Lola Larson replaces Garrett.
I'm Bambi. She was an Olympic gymnast star, very young, very quiet. I think this was her first, too. But she did a good job.
Jimmy Dean arrives on the set to film his first scenes, but misses out on the action.
Bambi and Thumper. More people ask me about them. I never saw them. When we arrived on the set, they had already done their thing and they had left, so I never saw them.
Dean enjoys working with Sean Connery.
He was always fun for me to be around. I had a good time with him. He called me the noisy American.
At the end of May, the unit travels further afield to an oil rig off the coast of Oceanside, California.
We had problems to find the right oil rig because it had to be disused and had to be safe because we had fire effects and explosions and all that.
For the cast, getting to the rig is an adventure in itself.
Every day we'd go in a helicopter and fly 15 minutes out to this oil rig.
One of the helicopter pilots, because I wasn't in the scene, said, "Jimmy, you want to go up and go for a ride?" He scared the hell out of me. I mean, they went so close to that tower. It was unbelievable.
Filming the pyrotechnics on the oil rig almost goes awry.
Guy had been a very famous assistant director, first assistant director, and had been for John Huston and other people. Guy decided to have one last dry run-through just to make sure everything was fine before we shot. And the assistant director misunderstood. And when Guy yelled action, for the run-through, explosions started happening all over the place. And thank God, a head helicopter pilot, a wonderful man named Jim Gavin, he went, "Holy Jesus, what's happening down there?" And he started rolling the cameras. And a lot of the explosions from the air were off that take. And Guy stood on that oil rig, and he was apoplectic, but he was so calm, and that was Guy. I mean, Guy never raised his voice. And the assistant director said, "I'm so sorry, Guy." And Guy said, "I'll handle it." And he said, "Guy, I'll get the people." He said, "I'll handle it." He said, "Guy, I don't think you understand the pressure on the thing and so on of being an assistant director." He said, "I was the assistant director on the African Queen. I was the assistant director on the whatever." He started doing this. He said, "And I'll handle it."
In June, the crew returns to Pinewood to film on Ken Adams' elegant sets. First up are scenes in Blofeld's penthouse.
I wanted to give the feeling of a penthouse belonging to one of the wealthiest men in the world, as well as a man who had been a brilliant designer and brilliant engineer.
The little sequence in the elevator, there were some German stainless steel tiles, which we'd seen the pattern of them. I remember that it was a big schlep trying to get them back into the country, but we did. And to me, that elevator will always live as one of the masterpieces of one of Ken's designs.
Another set makes an impression of a different sort on the crew.
Leslie Hillman had come up with the idea of using mashed potatoes in tons to create this mud. And what he didn't realize that after 24 hours, these mashed potatoes started smelling.
I can't tell you, there's this awful stink. Oh.
Get him out, and you gotta quick. It was unbearable.
London-based American actor Shane Rimmer, a veteran of You Only Live Twice, reports for work at Pinewood on June the 30th.
It was kind of funny. I mean, it was Connery, and I'd never met him. I didn't realize quite how awesome the man is. My first look of him is coming rather briskly down this hallway, and I just went rigid. I mean, this phenomenon coming towards me, because he is. He sends out an awful lot of voltage.
To get away from the grind of filming, Connery indulges his passion, golf.
Sean Connery gave me some instructions on how to play golf, and very good instructions, by the way.
Sean plays a lot more golf than James Bond does.
It was more or less in the contract that we could play golf once a week.
He did more for my golf game than any pro that I ever went to. When I finished doing Diamonds Are Forever, I was hitting my irons the best I had ever hit them.
At the end of July, a fight is filmed in an unusual location, an elevator.
We got to have a fight in a Bond movie. And basically, there's no more boring than a couple of blokes swinging at each other. And I began to think about having a fight in this elevator because it would be fun. They'd break the glass, so you could shatter the whole thing, and obviously as it came up to a floor, your head would be chopped off. And put the two largest guys I can think of in a small elevator. And they would love to swing at each other, but every time they moved back, oh, my elbow's gone through this. Bob Simmons, who was our stunt gaffer, he loved the idea.
Sean and me, we both worked the fight out ourselves because some of Bob's ideas were good, but we thought we could improve on the ideas. And you approved of what we were doing, so that was the main thing. And I worked with Sean before. I taught Sean judo. To see this small lift with Sean, both and I, 6'2" and 220 pounds, it was quite something. And I thought that's a brilliant idea, you know. And I remember Sean saying, look, what are they going to do next? Have a fight in a telephone box?
And most stuntmen have a healthy respect for Sean because he believes, and this is what makes Sean a wonderful Bond, when he hits, he means it. He goes in there and I'm going to hit
I remember it well.
But he's big because occasionally he gets one back because he forgot the routine because he never learnt it in the first place, and Sean gets thumped and he never complains.
In early August, the final fight is filmed not at sea, but on a stage at Pinewood Studios. Actors Bruce Glover and Putter Smith work closely with the stunt team led by Bob Simmons. Each move is choreographed so that the actors can do as much of the stunt work as possible. Putter Smith even has his hands lit on fire, but it is stuntman George Leach who goes up in flames. For the final flip, Connery is assisted by a mini trampoline to launch stuntman Jerry Crampton in the air. From uncertain beginnings and shaky starts, Diamonds Are Forever re-establishes 007 as the classic British secret agent. On Friday the 13th of August, 1971, Sean Connery closes the lid on his career as the star of Eon Productions' James Bond series.
And we finished at 4 o'clock on the last day of his contract. You know, everybody was very happy.
I think everybody kind of knew that he wasn't coming back, that this was his swan song.
I came back for the one, that was the understanding.
He was adorable to me. It was a pleasure to kiss him. He's a fabulous person and a marvelous actor.
Handsome, kind, charming, with these big magnetic eyes that had a bit of irony to them.
The first and the best, I think. He's A, the sexiest thing on two legs. B, he looks terrific. C, he's got such a wicked twinkle. D, he's a very good actor. And he's very virile.
He was a gentleman. He was very rough, like a diamond, rough edges, but down to earth, very giving as an actor.
Mr. Osato believes in a healthy chest.
He was fantastic. And I must say he was a very, very good colleague. He was very, very friendly, very helpful.
He's a very good pal to have as your leading man, you know. To be his co-star is to feel almost protected. And Sean was just wonderful. He was James Bond to me.
Deep breath. All right, here we go.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me. They won't leave in the night. I've no fear that they might desert me. Diamonds are forever. Hold one up and then caress it. Touch it, stroke it and undress it. I can see every part, nothing hides in the heart to hurt me. I don't need love. Diamonds are forever, forever, forever. Diamonds are forever, 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 forever.
Okay, come on, ladies. Let's bet it up. Get some money and be somebody. $1,000 on the black.
Right on.
All right, come on, let's go. Put it down, baby. There you go. Over here, and give me 1,000 on the black. There you go.
Hiya, sweetheart.
Hey, Bert, how are you, baby?
Good. Say, I had a call from Mr. White, said you hadn't signed your contract yet. What's the matter? You got a problem?
No, not too big a problem. Just some money, that's all. Now, you know what amazes me? That a man that's a multi-billionaire living up in that fortress can't come to terms. Now, look, you're the man that I work for, really. Do me a favor, go up and talk to him for me, will you?
You gotta be kidding. I run this place for him, and even I haven't seen him for 3 years. Will you take a look at that?
What? Wow. They ain't never gonna get a cake big enough to put him on top of. Hey, wait a minute. What happened to the chips? I lost.
Shady Tree. Shady, we just adore your act. What taste, style, and we have a few suggestions.
Fittings and material I don't need. I haven't changed my act in 40 years.
Ah, but this one's surefire.
That's the oldest guy.
And then this one. Will kill you.
Come on, fellas, a popping gun and squirting fly routine. You gotta be kidding.
Two's company, Mr. Wynn. And Tree was a crowd, Mr. Kid.
No good.
Hey, I didn't think you could really do that. I bet they charge you for it.
I was under the impression you were paying.
Well, it was still a very classy thing to do. Hey, listen, you're not a knight or anything like that, are you?
No, I'm afraid not. I'm a commoner.
But don't feel bad. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm a Democrat. Hi, Myrna. Hey, Peter, you had enough of this?
Aren't you enjoying yourself?
Oh, well, sure, but what I mean is, well, you've been so great and everything. I just wanted to thank you properly, you know. Well, maybe I could walk you to your door at least?
Insist. Presumably, I'm the condemned man, and obviously you're the hearty breakfast, right?
I got you now.
Lean over.
I'm Michael Wilson, producer of the James Bond films. This is a longer version of the scene which appeared in the original Diamonds Are Forever film. While not much content was lost, the scene does illustrate the mercenary nature of the Tiffany Case character. To create this version, we've used none of the footage that appeared in the finished film.
Darling, why are we suddenly staying in the bridal suite of the White House?
In order to form a more perfect union, darling.
By the way, James, may I call you James finally?
Any particular reason why?
You've held out on the organization, broken into a government plant, flown a car through an alley sideways, and I haven't even tried to skip town. Peter Franks would be throwing up in the bathtub by now.
Well, I have been feeling rather queasy lately.
I don't believe you. By the way, James, what's going to happen to me? You did talk to your friend Felix about me, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did he say?
Something about 20 years to life. It wasn't very important.
20 years to life?
Relax, darling. I'm on top of the situation.
That's easy for you to... That's easy for you to say. Oh, you're not the one that has... Oh, James, how many hands do you have? Wait a minute. I must be crazy. This isn't like me at all. I helped to wipe out half the police force of Las Vegas, make enemies of my own people, Willard White, the U.S. government, and now I end up giving away something for nothing.
Well, if it's a matter of simple charity.
I may as well begin at home.
Director, I still say you look like a couple of old ladies waltzing around in a lift. Right, back to the rehearsal box, everybody. For weeks now, Bob Simmons, the stunt supervisor, and I have been planning this fight for the new James Bond film, Diamonds Are Forever. First of all, in slow motion, rehearsing every move like a ballet. Then Bob plays the part of Bond and another stuntman plays the villain. Although the fight will only last 3 minutes on the screen, every move, every blow, every punch must count. Sean Connery and Joe Robinson, a British judo champion, do their own fighting. No stuntmen or doubles. The camera's going to be much too close for that. Let's pick up the tempo, Bob. Sean, Joe, please watch carefully because at speed, one wrong move and somebody's going to get hurt. Right, Sean, Joe, in you go. Hold it, that's wrong. Bob, show them the move again. That's it, that's it.
386, take one.
Right, let's try take. Roll the camera. The lift is moving. Wait for my signal. And may the best man win. Ready, action. There's one old lady I don't want to meet in the lift. Well done, Sean. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello, I'm Maud Adams. Welcome to the exotic locations of Diamonds Are Forever. Produced in 1971, the seventh 007 adventure was filmed on location in France, the Netherlands, Germany, England, and the United States. The pre-credits feature a tantalizing glimpse of Eden Rock Beach on the Cap d'Antibes Peninsula, halfway between Cannes and Nice on the Mediterranean. The Carl Ferry Terminal on the eastern dock of Dover in Kent became the scene of James Bond assuming the identity of Peter Franks. Dover was the primary setting for Ian Fleming's third Bond novel, Moonraker, and portions of Goldfinger were set in the area. Ian Fleming owned a home in nearby St. Margaret's Bay. Another location in Britain was the Aston Martin factory in Newport Pagnell, Buckinghamshire, which doubled as Q's workshop. Amsterdam served as the location where Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd took their tourist photos for Mrs. Whistler's children. The city has more canals than Venice and more bridges than Paris. Shots of Bond leaving Holland, as well as the interiors of the jet, were actually filmed at the Lufthansa Jumbo hangar of the Frankfurt Airport, the largest airport in Germany and the second largest in Europe. Another airport seen in the film is Los Angeles International in California. LAX would appear again in Moonraker. The Elrod House in Palm Springs became Willard White's villa in the film. The house, designed by architect John Lautner for interior designer Arthur Elrod, was built with existing rock formation integrated into the design of the home. Playboy magazine highlighted the house as the ultimate bachelor pad in their November 1971 issue, 1 month before the December release of Diamonds Are Forever. The Slumber Mortuary was actually the Palm Mortuary in Henderson, Nevada. In 1958, Palm built Southern Nevada's first mausoleum, the Building of Eternity. In 1963, Palm bought 20 acres in Henderson for a combined mortuary and cemetery, which opened in 1964. But much of the action of the film occurs in and around the glittering casinos of the Las Vegas Strip and Fremont Street, a 3-mile area that contains more hotels and hotel rooms than any other city in the world. The International, now known as the Las Vegas Hilton, doubled as the White House in the film. When it opened in 1969, it was the largest hotel in the world. 007's suite was filmed in room 831 of the Tropicana, which was called the Tiffany of the Strip. When it opened in 1957, it boasted one of the city's best golf courses and country clubs, not to mention a swimming pool. Burt Saxby's Office was filmed at the Dunes Hotel, which opened in 1955. The hotel was torn down in 1993. Interiors of Willard White's casino and the Lincoln Lounge were filmed at the Riviera Hotel, which also opened in 1955 and was the first skyscraper on the Strip. Tiffany Case escapes from CIA agents at Circus Circus Hotel and Casino, where aerialists performed over the heads of the gamblers. Blofeld's oil rig was filmed off the coast of Oceanside, California, 35 miles north of San Diego and 83 miles south of Los Angeles. For the finale, the filmmakers returned to Southampton, the principal port of the south of England. Southampton is the port from which many famous ships have set sail, including the vessel that carried the Pilgrims to America and the Titanic.
He's back.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Sean Connery as James Bond, 007. In Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. From the diamond fields of South Africa to the casinos of Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
And a rocket site in the Nevada desert. Sean Connery as James Bond 007 is back. And he's brought his own special brand of excitement with him. In the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all.
Good evening, 007.
Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GP. He's back. Sean Connery as James Bond, 007. In Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. From the diamond fields of South Africa to the casinos of Las Vegas and a rocket site in the Nevada desert. Sean Connery in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all. Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GP. He's back.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Sean Connery is back as James Bond 007 in Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. Sean Connery in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all. Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GP. He's back.
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Sean Connery as James Bond 007 is back. And he's bigger than ever in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Sean Connery in Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GP. He's back.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
as James Bond, 007. In Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. He's back, and he's brought his own special brand of excitement with him. The women are still falling for him.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
And so are a couple of men. Sean Connery as James Bond, 007, in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all. Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GP.
Hello, I'm Michael Wilson, producer of the James Bond films. The original release poster for Diamonds Are Forever contained an image of frogmen leaping into the sea. Viewers would have thought this was purely from the imagination of the publicity department, because it was not in the final film. During the shooting, it was decided to shorten the climax of the film, so the frogman sequences, as well as a planned fight to the death between 007 and Blofeld at a salt mine, were cut. This footage represents the full scope of the aerial assault on Blofeld's oil rig. It gives a decidedly different perspective. I'm Michael Wilson, producer of the James Bond films. This is a longer version of the scene which appeared in the original Diamonds Are Forever film. While not much content was lost, the scene does illustrate the mercenary nature of the Tiffany Case character. To create this version, we've used none of the footage that appeared in the finished film.
Darling, why are we suddenly staying in the bridal suite of the White House?
In order to form a more perfect union, darling.
By the way, James, may I call you James finally?
Any particular reason why?
You've held out on the organization, broken into a government plant, flown a car through an alley sideways, and I haven't even tried to skip town. Peter Franks would be throwing up in the bathtub by now.
Well, I have been feeling rather queasy lately.
I don't believe you. By the way, James, what's going to happen to me? You did talk to your friend Felix about me, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did he say?
Something about 20 years to life. It wasn't very important.
20 years to life?
Relax, darling. I'm on top of the situation.
That's easy for you to... That's easy for you to say. Oh, you're not the one that has... Oh, James, how many hands do you have? Wait a minute. I must be crazy. This isn't like me at all. I helped to wipe out half the police force of Las Vegas, make enemies of my own people, Willard White, the U.S. government, and now I end up giving away something for nothing.
Well, if it's a matter of simple charity.
I may as well begin at home.
He's back.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Sean Connery as James Bond. .007.
Welcome to hell, Blofeld.
In Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. Sean Connery is back.
Good evening.
And he's brought his own special brand of excitement with him.
Hey, what the hell is this? Hey, listen, you can't do this to me. I've got friends in this town. Ah!
The women are still falling for him.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
And so are a couple of men. Sean Connery as James Bond 007 in Diamonds Are Forever. Sean Connery as James Bond 007. And as usual, he's not alone.
Well, that's quite a nice little nothing you're almost wearing. I approve.
I don't dress for the hired help.
Jill St. John as Tiffany Case. Charles Gray is 3 people. And all of them are named Blofeld.
Good evening, 007.
From the diamond fields of South Africa.
Curious how everyone who touches those diamonds seems to die.
To the canals of Amsterdam. From the casinos of Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
To a rocket site in the Nevada desert. Sean Connery as James Bond. 007 in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all.